What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Devin the Beer, here to discuss what was a pretty good card with UFC 274.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to say it was a good card.
The highs were high and the lows were low.
Very low.
And the lows were so low that they made some historical moments that we wish we could forget.
Yeah.
That's Rose Namajunas and Carla Esparza. And that's the most we're going to talk about that fight on the show.
Yep, that's it.
So going to one of the more exciting parts, Michael Chandler and Tony Ferguson.
He put him in a coffin that night.
Yeah, that was very exciting.
Michael Chandler caught a body that night in front of his family. That was one of the most vicious knockouts I've ever seen, and I hate to fucking say that because that's exactly what Dana White said.
Yeah.
But it's true though. Like that was.
Devin White?
Yeah. Whoa, dude. What? No, but it was a rough knockout. I mean, the way he face planted, like his head was like tucked under his body, and all that weight just crashed onto his head. And we've never seen Tony Ferguson. I don't think we've seen him ever get TKO'd. I'm not sure about that, but we've never seen him out cold. We've seen him get rocked plenty of times. Actually, he has been TKO'd by Justin Gaethje, but we've never seen him out cold like that. And we see he had a phenomenal first round against Michael Chandler. He even got taken down and was doing very well off of his back cut up. Michael Chandler and
I would say phenomenal in the sense of it was better than anything he's done in the last in recent
years. It looked like vintage Tony. You know,
it looked good.
He dropped him, dude. Come
looked
on,
good.
man. It was
Charles Oliveira knocked him out.
Justin
Gaethje spent 15 minutes dropping him.
Yeah,
like
that was that one fight of the year.
I'm just saying, Tony Ferguson's looked better. I wouldn't compare that to peak Tony Ferguson.
No, we're never gonna see peak Tony Ferguson again.
Well, you just said that.
What's that?
You just said it looked like old Tony Ferguson.
Right. No, I didn't say old. Or are we bringing this back up?
It just doesn't make sense to say it one way and not the other.
I just that was the best round we've seen out of Tony Ferguson since like 2019.
Yeah, it was the best round since we've seen in a long time.
Because since 2020, he's been getting his ass whooped for a fucking minute by some killers. And I know that's a really rough way to put it, but he has. I mean, he's fought he's fought Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, then Beneil Dariush, and all those three fights, he just got controlled in every aspect of the fight.
Yeah, and, for sure, Beneil.
And so, especially on the ground by Beneil.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles Oliveira almost broke his freaking arm, but Beneil Dariush, man, like, to go out there and to have that game plan just to take him down and just control him for that whole fight, it was like, dude, that's kind of impressive, actually. I mean,
Tony's typically it's very hard to do that, too.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing is that even though he used to compete at the highest level, he can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We kind of almost saw him coming back to it with Michael Chandler, and that's why I say it wasn't Tony Ferguson that we're used to.
Yeah.
It's just what we know he's capable of.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And it wasn't enough to finish the fight like it used to be.
Yeah. Because by that second round, most guys would be just dead. They wouldn't be able to keep up with it. Like Josh Thompson even said it. He's like, dude, like he hit me at one point to where I was just like, he's said the best is the way how hard Tony Ferguson hits. Like you don't even want to like be in there anymore. Like as a fighter, you just get used to getting hit. But he's like, dude, that like him hitting me made me want to just stop. Like I don't want him hitting me anymore. You know, it's just crazy to see what's happened. But the thing is, though, is this is very reminiscent of watching what happened to Chocodo. I think if you're a longtime fight fan, you're kind of used to seeing these killers, you know, going out on their shield, and it just comes back. You know, they can't keep up with what were once prospects at their best. Now those prospects are at their best, top of the division. And they're not really able to see these guys who are at the top can't keep up with these guys anymore. And that's why I really like that Chuck Liddell had talked to Tony Ferguson after. But, I mean, in the most recent times, the only person I could think of was like BJ Penn, you know, for any newer fight fans.
Rough.
Because a lot of newer fight fans started watching after them, like during the McGregor era. So, but, I mean, when it comes down to it, though, I mean, dude, Michael Chandler knocked him the fuck out. Like, there's
with a front kick that it's his first kick knockout.
Yeah.
And he's said himself that he's never trained front kicks before. They don't really train them. He just felt like throwing it through it, and it got the knockout.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just another great performance by him. I love Michael Chandler.
I do, too. I'm so happy for him. I've been a fan since he was in Bellator.
Yeah.
I loved watching his fights. He's a great fighter. I'm not a huge Tony Ferguson fan. It's kind of like with the Diaz brothers. Like, I'm not a fan of theirs, but I don't want to see them go like that.
Yeah.
But that was pretty fun to watch.
We might see Nate Diaz go like that.
Yeah. Depends on who he ends up against. if he's gonna end up fighting Hamzat, which is it's set, right?
I don't know if it's set, but I know they asked Dana White about it. He said, "Oh, we just put those names up there just cause." And that's like, look, man, whatever, dude.
If he fights Hamzat, we're gonna see him get knocked out.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a rough one, but yeah, man, props to Michael Chandler. I don't know what he does next, but I think a fight with him and McGregor at 170 would be fun. He called him out. I mean, right now, because Chandler's gonna have to wait at least a year for that title fight against.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit. Luckily, the champion Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
He likes to be active. He likes to fight. He's one of the most active champions we've seen in a long time.
Can I say something controversial?
Yeah.
I think he's a better champion than Khabib.
I mean, I think there are things there that support it.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like he goes out there and he wants to be as active as he can. Well, Khabib, when he was champ, he fought once a year.
It depends on what frame of mind you're coming with better.
Yeah, champion. Well, I mean, as in, I would say, defending
for the fans,
yeah.
He defends more, and he's a fun fight every single time.
Yeah, I can't say who's a better fighter when it comes down to the skill sets because they both do everything their own ways in different ways. And people will say that Khabib would kill him in a fight, but I really don't think that.
Yeah, I don't know if he would really kill him in a fight.
Yeah.
The thing is, we see Charles struggle with strikers in the first round.
Yeah.
But we see him come back and win those fights every time. And if he fought Khabib, he's not worried about the striking. He's worried about the takedowns. Khabib locks up legs, and that, I think, would be an issue for Charles. But Charles gets out of it and takes it back every time.
I bet you
like Khabib.
I bet you he has a really good butterfly guard, too, if he tried to lock up his legs.
Well, the thing is, he gets that high.
It's like above the knees.
Saddle?
Right?
Is it a saddle? That's what the
term is. Right? I don't know the wrestling term for it, but I know the sambo term is. Well, I think the MMA term is the Dagestani handcuffs.
Not the handcuff, but where he gets his hip positioning on their legs, and then you lock the arm behind.
Okay,
yours.
That's the handcuff. Talking about. Okay.
The getting your hips high up, like about right here, and locking up their legs with yours. It prevents them from getting butterfly guards. So you're not really... You could get mount. You're right there. Yeah. But when you get mount, you could also lose mount. This position, you will not lose.
Yeah.
At worst, you get their back.
Yeah.
So it's really... I mean, it's similar with mount, but this... I feel like he's just found more... He can be more controlling in that position. And I am curious to see what Charles could do from that position.
Right.
If they were to ever fight. I think that would be really fun. But I think Charles is one of the best lightweight champions the UFC's ever had.
Yeah.
And they're stifling that with this whole Scalegate issue.
Yeah, this is ridiculous at this point.
And it's not being talked about enough, the fact that, 20 fighters missed weight by 12. The same amount? I think it was 20.
Was it? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all missed by 0.5.
Yeah.
Or 1.5, depending on how much you care.
Right.
But the fact that around 20 fighters can miss 0.5 all across the board, something's wrong with their scales. Yeah. And in this championship fight, you're taking this guy's championship status from him because of 0.5 pounds, which almost every fighter on the card also was overweight by. Right. I just don't get it. I would have... Justin Gaethje posted after the fight, or after the weigh-ins, that he was already at like 165. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have seen what he weighed backstage. Like if he had gotten off the stage from weighing himself and then went right backstage and weighed himself real quick, would he have been 1 pound lower than what the other scale said? I would love to have seen that.
Right.
But we're not going to. We're hopefully going to see Charles Oliveira with the belt soon.
Yeah.
And I know other people may not feel that way. Maybe not everybody's a fan of his. Well, you're wrong. You should be a fan of his.
Yeah.
If you're not dumb.
So that's what I don't get with that whole thing though, is they knew these scales were messed up, and I was telling somebody is they should have recalibrated the scales after every single use. If you know it's fucking up that bad to where so many fighters on your card are missing weight, and you know that they cannot weigh over 0.5 of a pound for a title fight, I mean, you have to do something about that. You can't just let that. Then you have Tony Ferguson being an idiot and jumping up and down on the fucking scale. I mean, jumping up and down is a hard way to put it, but he's like, he went on the scale, was like, moving, like making it move and shit while messing with the guy, and that messes with the scale as well, though. And I mean, it's just, if you know that he missed by 0.5 of a pound, and you have so many fighters before him, because he weighed in last. And so if he went out there last and you had him weigh 0.5 of a pound and all these other fighters, and he had to walk away for an hour to go cut more weight, then why wouldn't you recalibrate it until he came back? You know? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And so all you're doing is just robbing him of a title defense. Because right now he should be moving on to his third defense, because that's exactly what that was.
Yeah.
I mean, he's... it sucks. I know as stupid as it sounds, but he's not going to get his ruby on his belt either for his title defenses. And he should be getting it. I mean, I know Dana White said after the fight that he's going to be getting... what's it called? He got his pay-per-view points.
And the championship pay.
Yeah, so he's still going to get all the pay that he deserves, and rightfully so. Should have got a performance of the night's bonus, or at least fight of the night. Also, I forgot who got fight of the night. Do you remember? Matt Schnell and Brandon Royval.
That got fight of the night? That was like a minute and a half of a fight. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I wonder why Charles and Justin didn't get it then.
Yeah, I feel like Charles and Justin should have gotten it, because they at least had a full round of back and forth action. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I think the UFC is just plotting against him at this point. They know that they could have easily made this work, because even when Khabib had his last fight against Justin Gaethje, he was over 155, and they just gave him that half of a pound right there. And it's like, why can't y'all do it? Because they rounded down.
Yeah,
and he stepped on, and was that the Tao one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that one, and everybody talked about that one, but nobody's talking about this one.
They need to talk about this one. This is ridiculous.
And I think it's just as bad, just coming from the other way around.
This is someone's legacy, you know? I mean, this guy has been through so much, and for his bosses to sit there and try to fuck him over on this, knowing that they're in the wrong for this, is ridiculous. And I think it's intentional. I think they know exactly what's going on. They finally see his way, take him off the belt. And what they're going to do is they're going to make that, for the vacant title, it's going to be Charles versus Islam in Abu Dhabi, because they see that he's more of a, I bet you they think he's more of a cash cow than Charles Oliveira is. But the thing is just...
I think that's freaking crazy. Yeah. Like, I know this is your mid-thought, but that's wild to say that Islam is more of a cash cow than Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira has a much larger, I don't want to say fan base, because there's also a lot of people who hate him, but that brings money in too.
Yeah. Because he's never in a boring fight.
How does Islam have more than that?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe I'm gonna guess because of the Muslim audience and the Russian audience.
Maybe,
you know,
but just beating the dead horse, which is the Dagestani thing, I guess.
Yeah, but the Russians can't even freaking order pay-per-views. They got ESPN Plus taken away from them. What does it matter? Fuck them. But sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But I'm just really still upset about the whole Ukraine thing. That we're not talking about it anymore. We're worried about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, who shits on beds. Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna get political right now. I might have to edit this out, but yeah. So let me go and get right back onto topic. I don't know, man. It's aggravating because Charles Oliveira has done everything he has to be a world-class champion. He is. Another thing I wanted to bring up is everyone keeps talking about how he's missed weight 4 times in a different weight class where he had to weigh in 10 pounds lighter than what he's weighing right now. And so for him to go up to 155, this is his first time ever missing at 155. Obviously, when he was at 145, he should have never been at that weight class. It made sense because he was skinny. Besides that, he missed weight 4 times at the weight class. It's time to go up, and that's what he did. He's never missed weight at lightweight ever. And you can even look that shit up. I looked into it, and people were making those claims. And how are you going to crucify him for missing weight whenever the fucking the scales were messed up as well? And I don't know, man. People will say that, he just quit. It's like, dude, you can't even write that narrative anymore. Look what he's doing now since his last fight. His last loss was against Paul Felder. And Paul Felder just put it on him, and that's just how it is, you know? I'm just annoyed with that. So.
I think he had... debuted at lightweight.
Mm-hmm. He debuted.
How long did he stay at lightweight? It doesn't matter. That was so long ago. He hasn't missed weight in so long. For people to act like that is currently an issue for him, it's ridiculous. So I'm not even going to dignify it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I started to. Charles Oliveira is the champion, and we need to just give him the belt back and apologize.
Publicly apologize. That's what this man deserves, is a public apology. Something
but yeah, I think the big moments of the night have to go to Michael Chandler's front kick, and Charles Oliveira choking out Gaethje. That they're definitely a good way to finish that card, because we had that lull in the middle of those two. So
ball.
It's fun to look back on the fun moments of that card.
Yeah.
The Matt Schnell fight against Royval was really freaking entertaining if you're a jiu-jitsu fan.
And that's what you saw the difference in the caliber, how those two are different when it comes to jiu-jitsu. When Matt Schnell, and you pointed this out best right before Dean Thomas even said it as well.
Like always.
Yeah, and he, whenever Matt Schnell went for the guillotine, Royval got his positioning and defended the choke, but whenever Royval got the choke, Matt Schnell didn't get his positioning. He went straight to defending the choke, and he was trying to get free from his guard. And I like Matt Schnell. I've watched him since 2011 when this dude was on MTV and shit. I'm a huge fan of Matt Schnell. And I like Brandon Royval as well. Brandon Royval could arguably be champion right now. And the reason why I say that is because in his fight with Brendan Moreno, when he dislocated his shoulder, I know he suffered an injury to his shoulder. He was pretty much going back and forth with Moreno, and he was winning that exchange that they were having as well. He just happened to suffer an injury in it, and that's what cost him that fight. And I think you're looking at within the next year that dude's going to be fighting for a title,
Yeah, I think Royval's definitely a good prospect. What?
So speaking of that, they did an interview with him after the post-fight, and they had asked him about, his thoughts on the top 5 and this and that. And right now, there's in talks for Moreno versus Kai Kara France for the interim flyweight title.
I thought they tried to pair France with someone else.
I'm not sure, but I know that they want to do an interim title because Davison Figueiredo is out right now. Anyways, he has a really bad injury to his finger, and it's like swelled up real bad as well. So he might not be able to be back till like September.
Well, I'd like to see a Moreno and Figueiredo 4. And You're never really going to hear me say that unless it's for a 4th fight, because I just want someone to have a 4th fight.
Yeah.
Break UFC's weird unwritten rule.
Yeah.
But that'd be a fun fight.
Yeah.
I really, really like Kai Kara France, and I don't see him winning that fight. I don't think he's at the same level of Brandon Moreno, but I think Moreno needs to go in and be focused. Not recently, though.
No, it's been a couple years. It hasn't been like a big, like a huge, like to where they're both different fighters now, But where Kai Kara France does best is where Moreno does best as well, and he's the bigger, longer fighter. But Kai Kara France is known for upsetting those kinds of fights,
Yeah.
So it'd be a great fight between those two. And the Francisco Trinaldo and Danny Roberts fight was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good fight.
It was a good fight. I like Danny Roberts. I wanted to see a little bit better from him, but it was a good fight.
43 years old, dude. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's the card.
Yeah,
that's it. Everyone was so excited for this card.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it was a bad card. I'm just saying we expected more.
I slept 2 hours for this shit to go to work the next day and still be disappointed. I'm just kidding. It wasn't that. The only, what made that card was just the lightweight fights.
Yeah, and it sucks that one of them is so, has this black cloud looming over it of Charles Oliveira losing the title.
And the fact that Dana White just is like, he missed weight.
Yeah, he wanted to sit there and repeat it to him after he won his fight. Like, dude, shut up. Let him have his moment.
Yeah, you wanted this fight in Justin Gaethje's home state, and look what happened. You wanted it. You could have made it in Brazil, but, I mean, you got to learn to accept that shit. And so I got asked, and I know we talked about it a little bit as well, is Daniel Cormier getting inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. I think it's a little too early.
I do too.
Yeah.
Not that I think he should never, but I think we're past the point where I believe a Hall of Fame, the standard should be. We're already past that point, so I won't argue that.
Yeah.
I just think it's a little early. You can leave in the comment what you think about this, but I think Ronda Rousey should have been in the Hall of Fame before Daniel Cormier. And if she's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, then what standard are we at? Because I don't even understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Daniel Cormier deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Because he's one of the most dominant heavyweight fighters in a long time. You just don't see heavyweight fighters who are as consistently winning as he is.
Yeah.
What is it, the winningest? He's one of the winningest heavyweight fighters of all time. And you just don't see that in the UFC at that level. So it's really cool, and I think what he does for the sport, what he does for the UFC itself, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I just think what also sucks is within the past year, he has started a bunch of shit with different fighters and confronted them in person about it. And it's like, that's very unprofessional. I don't like it. It's like, you're retired, man, and you're confronting guys that are like half your size. I understand they spoke ill of you, but there's a way to go about that because you get pretty out of pocket whenever you're commentating fights, and but it's cool though. And if you think Daniel Cormier is a boring fighter, I do highly recommend going out and checking out his Strikeforce highlights, and you will see why people that follow the sport for a while are fans of him. Because he is a very respectful fighter, a very respectful person as well, besides what I just talked about. Yeah. But he is, though. And he's also, like, his Strikeforce stuff, man. Like, when he got into the UFC, there was a lot of hype around him because the fact that he was literally ragdolling people, He was doing,
The way that he tossed around, was it Dan Henderson?
And Josh Barnett.
I'll never get over, like, how good he looked against them. That was freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And that Josh Barnett was not on steroids. Right, I think that was the time where he was testing clean.
Yeah,
pretty consistently.
Telling his body looked like a bag of milk.
Travis. So yeah, Daniel Cormier was very impressive. So him winning the Hall of Fame or getting into the Hall of Fame, like I said, I don't really argue with it. I just think it was a little early. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And so, kudos to him though, man. It's cool, So, is there any fights coming up this weekend?
We got Blachowicz and
Rakic, right?
Rakic, yeah. I'm hoping to see something exciting from both guys. I think Jan needs it, and I think Alexander should want it.
Yeah.
But I would also understand if he played it smart in that fight.
I think he's going to play it smart though. He has, and
Polish, I don't. You got to worry about the Polish power.
Yeah, it's a one hell of a factor whenever you're fighting Jan Blachowicz is that. He can hurt you from anywhere, and I wish he would have done it against Glover, but he got completely shut out. But so you're a big fan of Rakic, though. I don't know too much about him, and the two fights I watched with him, I did not like watching him fight.
He's got great kickboxing. Yeah. That's really all I can say is that he's got great kickboxing. He's fun to watch. He's quick. I want to start seeing better from him because, I remember when you would first watch him, you're like, I'm honestly not that impressed by him. It's like, you just wait for his next fight.
I waited for his next fight.
He's just got to a part where he was like, I need to start fighting smart because I'm getting in the upper echelon of fighters and I need to win.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys like, you got Glover Teixeira, Yuri Prochazka, Jan Blachowicz, Dom Reyes, and then Thiago Santos. I mean, and also including Anthony Smith. And I know Rakic falls right in there. I mean, you really can't fight dumb against any of those guys. But you probably can against Thiago Santos. But that's because it's Thiago Santos.
Well, Thiago Santos still shows glimpses of being just as good as he ever was.
Yeah,
but
he's not elite though. I'm just messing with you.
But I'll say like no one said he was, Devin. I don't know why you got to do this.
No, I'm just kidding.
But also on that card, we have the one that I'm excited for, which is Ryan Spann and Ion Kutileba.
It's a fun one.
That's a fun one. I think that's going to be fight of the night.
Yeah. You think Kutileba gets it to the ground and then gasses out?
I think that fight very potentially does not make it out of the first round. So even if he does try to go to the ground and gets gassed out, I think he'll get knocked out before the second round.
Yes, because Spann needs a good win, and Kutileba is a very strong test for him.
Yeah.
And I think also with that fight too, though, is that you have Ion Kutileba, who's I wouldn't say he's a gatekeeper because I feel like it's still a little early
to say that,
but it's like he's in limbo versus being a top guy versus being a mid-tier fighter.
I think this is going to get him back on track.
His last fight, who did he fight last time? I remember he actually fought a great fight, though. He didn't gas himself out.
He was very smart,
yeah. And so, I mean, it's good to see that. I mean, he's not a bad fighter at all. He's a great fighter, and I think he's finally now mentally in a place where he can, pace himself outright and stuff. He's fought some serious competition. Also in that top,
it was Devin Clark. He freaking beat Devin Clark. I did not expect him to beat Devin Clark.
Yeah, I remember Devin
Clark. And he went out there and just outfought him.
Yeah, I mean that's so with Kutileba though, it's like I think it's time for him to prove that he's of the higher tier fighters.
Yeah,
and he also just has a really bad temper, and that's what I think throws it off for him too, even before the fight.
Yeah, you see it a lot with his fights against Ankalaev.
Forgot he fought Ankalaev. That's another top guy. Yeah.
You see it a lot in those fights. So I think he's going to get the win. Ryan Spann's good. I just don't think he's going to be top guy.
Yeah.
And I think Ion can prove himself to be up in there.
Yeah.
We all up in there.
So, yeah. That is UFC 274, and that is this coming up weekend's fight card.
We also had Canelo lose.
Oh, yeah.
Canelo lost to a guy about twice his size.
Yeah.
And we wanted to act shocked. At what point did we think he was going to just continue winning? Is that what we thought was going to happen?
Yeah.
Because, I'm so impressed by Canelo. I will always side with Canelo because he's just proven that you kind of should.
Yeah.
But eventually, when you're punching up a weight class, it's eventually going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
And it did with him. He's not freaking Roy Jones Jr.
Well, you were the first guy I knew that knew who Dimitri Bivol was. And you were very high on him.
Yeah, that dude's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he's super freaking good. Obviously, he just beat Canelo Alvarez, who's the best boxer in the world right now. And I think with Canelo, though, you have to respect the belief he has in himself to sit there and say, oh, no, I'm going to move up. Eventually, I want to fight Usyk at cruiserweight, And he talked about that before the fight.
Yeah, which, again, it's cool.
Yeah.
But you're biting off a lot.
Yeah. And eventually it caught up. Even his fight against Kovalaev, until he knocked him out, he was losing that fight. And it just whenever you fight the bigger guy, in a sport like boxing, fight against the bigger guy, and if you're a better skilled fighter, you're more technical and a faster fighter, there's on paper you should win that fight. But when it comes to somebody like Dimitri Bivol, who has the skill set to match Canelo Alvarez, who has the speed as well, not as fast as him, but he's still a very fast fighter, but I would say stronger for sure.
There's another boxer that I think you're thinking that I was talking about.
Probably.
And I can't remember his name now, but he's got a 90% finish rate.
Yeah.
Out of 30 fights.
Yeah.
But I am a big fan of Bivol too.
Yeah.
I'm a bigger fan of Canelo. I was hoping Canelo would win, and he didn't, and that sucks.
Isn't it crazy that 6 pounds makes that much of a difference, though?
Because you look at the height difference and the reach difference. Well, I don't know about the reach difference, but the height difference was pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Bivol's what is he, 6'4"?
I don't think he's 6'4". I think he's that tall. Because he's not that much taller than... He's taller than Canelo by a significant amount, but not a huge amount.
Oh, he's just 6 foot.
Yeah.
He always looks so tall when he stands next to Canelo, though.
Yeah. Is that how you feel
see them standing next to each other?
No.
But yeah, that was this last weekend, and then this next weekend we have. It's not a pay-per-view, right?
No, sir.
Good.
You know what else is this weekend? iDubbbz is putting on his fight card.
The Creator Clash. Yeah.
That's exciting though.
Is that Saturday or Sunday?
This Saturday night.
Yeah.
$25. Check it out. Please check it out. Actually, there's a percentage going to charity. I know people really hate that celebrity boxing is becoming so big, but this one I feel like it's significant. iDubbbz has openly spoke out about how he also hates celebrity boxing, and he's putting on for charity. I mean, it's only $25 to watch him get in there. He's been training hard. All these guys have been training hard from what he's been saying as well.
Yeah. If you follow the Jake Paul and Logan Paul stuff at all, and if you bought any of those pay-per-views, you kind of have to do this now.
Yeah.
You've paid your way into all the stupidity, so now at least come to this side where it's a bit more respectful and they're taking it a little bit more serious. That being said, I don't think any of these guys are going to look any good.
No.
But because you have Game Grumps, Mega 64, if you know who those guys are, they're going to be fighting other people. The freaking Epic Mealtime guy, who's giant. He's going against one of the Game Grumps who's not giant. He's just a little chubby.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. I think that's the key theme is let's go out there and take it seriously, but make sure it's fun.
It's all for charity, so you
well, it's not all for charity. The fighters are getting paid, iDubbbz is sending all his money that he makes after he pays the fighters and whatever fees or whoever he has to pay. Everything, his check is going to charity.
Yeah.
But he's taking on Dr. Mike in a boxing fight. I'm really excited for that because having watched iDubbbz for so long, the thought of him doing something remotely athletic is just exciting because it's not. I don't expect it to be good, but he's determined that he's going to knock out Dr. Mike, who typically does athletic things.
Yeah, he's very athletic compared to iDubbbz, but iDubbbz has dedicated himself though also, and but
so is Dr. Mike.
Yeah, he's also
dedicated his whole life to being like that.
Healthy,
so, not necessarily a boxer, but to be in good shape and to be able to go out and do something like that on a whim if he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy, dude. But I think what's funny though is like all the other people like YouTubers that iDubbbz has reached out to, they're all like, oh no, like if I'm not making millions, I don't want to do it.
They want the freaking check.
And it's like, dude, what makes you think someone's gonna pay you millions of dollars to fight? Like
you're not a fighter.
Like you're not.
You've never done anything like it before.
Yeah, like Jake Paul, like people pay him millions to fight, you know, but that's also because he's created this resume for himself, you know. And it is what it is. If I don't really care for it, but it is what it is. The other day, either way, he is shown to be worth that much to some of these promoters, and so
I think that's a good way to word it.
Yeah, I mean
some of those promoters.
No, because him and Eddie Hearn having to do media together was. Did you watch any of it?
I tried not to, but of course I came across it.
Yeah, I watched it, and it's literally just a whole week of fucking Eddie Hearn just throwing jabs at Jake Paul the whole time, which is pretty funny. And Katie Taylor also beat Amanda Serrano in a split decision also. But
I'm sure we'll see a rematch with them.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna see how much money they made. I mean, also like those are top tier athletes that got in there. You know, it wasn't a joke.
And you don't see them really genuinely have to fight against their opponents.
Yeah.
Usually they're just winning, and that's the story of their fights. So this one was kind of interesting. So I think they'll have a rematch.
Yeah. Also, one more fight to mention before we go. Carlos Elguilas Nava fights this weekend on
May 14th.
Yep.
How have we not talked about that?
I don't know.
Shame on us.
Hey, man, I'm the one that remembered, so shame on you.
Shame on me.
God, dude. But
I feel it.
Back to the whole thing, though. So, Carlos Elguilas Nava fights this Saturday on the Golden Boy undercard. And if you have DAZN, definitely download DAZN. I'm not sure what the prices are on the pay-per-views or if it's a pay-per-view, but definitely check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. I mean, we rave about this guy all the freaking time, and there's a lot of reason why you should be a fan of this guy. And he's also a great person. He dedicates himself to the sport. He breathes boxing. And, I mean, 8-0, dude. We're going to see it happen this Saturday, and we're more than excited for it. So,
yeah. Also on the card is John Scrappy Ramirez.
That's right.
That dude's really fun to watch. We caught him on one of Carlos's earlier fights, and it was just like, Jesus, that dude is aggressive and relentless. Like, he's everything you would want in a boxer.
Yeah.
Because he's very entertaining. I hear nothing but good things about him as a person.
Yeah.
So I like seeing him. I like seeing Carlos. They're training together at Brickhouse Boxing. I think it's a really fun card.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that Carlos is part of it. I hope people start paying attention because they need to.
Yeah, for sure. So that was that. That was all about it, huh?
Yep.
I don't know why I said it like that. But thank you guys. You have a good one. Be sure to check out our Instagram. Check out Carlos's Instagram at He Dreams Boxing. And like, comment, subscribe, do all those things, please. We like interaction. We get pretty lonely without it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
We've been getting a little bit lately, but we want more.
Yeah. All of it.
We now can say link in our bio because we have links in our bio on Instagram now.
Yeah. It sounds like we have an OnlyFans.
No, just your side of the internet.
Yeah.
Makes it sound like that. So we'll catch you next time.